A guy in the comments of the previous vid says, DNA does not lie. I agree, DNA does not lie. But that is exactly why Black Israelite identity claims collapse when tested against real genetic studies. Black Israelite teachers claim that African Americans from the transatlantic slave trade are the real biblical Israelites, while modern Jews are imposters. That claim can be tested. If the claim is true, DNA should show African Americans clustering with Jewish and Levantine populations. But that is not what the data shows. Studies on African American ancestry consistently show a majority African ancestry source, mainly from West and West Central Africa, with European admixture in many individuals. The study characterizing the admixed African ancestry of African Americans found that African Americans are admixed, with majority ancestry contributions from West and West Central Africa. That is not the same as saying African Americans are descendants of ancient Israelites. West African ancestry and Levantine Jewish ancestry are not the same genetic signal. Now compare that with Jewish population studies. Jewish communities have been tested for decades, and the results repeatedly show shared ancestry connected to the Middle East. Behar and colleagues studied Jewish communities worldwide and found that Jewish populations show genetic structure consistent with shared origins in the Middle East and later diaspora migrations. Black Israelite arguments often attack Ashkenazi Jews specifically, claiming they are just Europeans. But genetic studies do not support that simplistic claim. Carmi and colleagues described Ashkenazi Jews as a genetic isolate close to European and Middle Eastern groups, which fits an ancient Near Eastern origin with later diaspora admixture. Admixture does not erase ancestry. Jews living in Europe for centuries naturally show some European admixture, but that does not make them ethnically fake, no different than African Americans aren't ethnically fake for having European admixture themselves. The same principle applies everywhere. A dispersed population can mix with host populations while still preserving identifiable ancestry, culture, language, and historical continuity. Modern Jews have continuous historical markers: Hebrew texts, synagogue communities, diaspora records, burial inscriptions, rabbinic literature, and genetic continuity. African Americans also have a real history. That history is not imaginary. But genetically and historically, it points mainly to West and West Central Africa, not ancient Judea. That is the key point. African American ancestry and Jewish Levantine ancestry are different historical streams. Mixing them together is ideology, not evidence. If Black Israelite teachers claim African Americans are the real Israelites, the burden is on them to produce peer-reviewed DNA evidence showing that specific Levantine Jewish ancestry. Where is the peer-reviewed genetic study showing African Americans descend from ancient Judeans as a population? That study does not exist. Being taken on ships does not prove Israelite ancestry. Many peoples were transported by ships in history. The text must be interpreted in context, not emotionally. Deuteronomy's curse language fits documented Judean history: siege, famine, exile, slavery, and dispersion under Babylonian and Roman judgment. Josephus records horrific famine and enslavement during the Roman destruction of Jerusalem. That is direct Judean historical context, long before the 1600s. Then comes the Khazar claim. Modern Jews are supposedly fake Europeans. But genetics does not support replacing Jewish ancestry with a Khazar origin story. Ashkenazi Jews show Middle Eastern ancestry with European admixture. That is not the same as saying they are merely Khazars or random Europeans. DNA confirms complexity. It does not support cartoon claims. Jews are not racially simple, and African Americans are not secretly ancient Judeans by population genetics. What we can say clearly is this: African American genetic ancestry is largely West and West Central African, while Jewish ancestry shows Middle Eastern continuity. So when Black Israelite teachers accuse Jews of stealing identity, the accusation collapses. The textual, historical, and genetic evidence supports Jewish continuity. Hence, it is the Black Israelites who are the identity thieves. If DNA does not lie, then follow the DNA. It does not show African Americans replacing Jews as the descendants of ancient Judeans. Slogans are not evidence. Comment section confidence is not evidence. A real argument needs peer-reviewed studies, historical records, and consistent interpretation. DNA does not lie. And when DNA, scripture, archaeology, and history are read together, Black Israelite claims do not survive the evidence.